Hello and welcome to Random Review Fridays, a segment on this channel where we literally pick one or two movies from my collection, just random movies, and we try to notice to see if there's any similarities or differences. I have with me a special guest, Christian, aka Milky Way.
Hey, what's up?
So, what movie do we have today? What two movies we have today?
Well, first we're going to talk a little bit about Circle, which is a movie I had no idea about until you told me, yo, check out Circle. It's pretty good. And then the next one is Green Room, another movie that just came by and no one fucking knew about it. It just went under the radar. I don't even know if it was in theaters or not, to be honest.
It was in theaters, but very limited release.
Yeah, because Green Room was released this year, if I'm not wrong. And Circle was either last year or the year before.
Right, yeah.
So,
okay. So Circle. Circle is basically just a group of people wake up randomly in a dark room with this red light in front of them, and they have no clue how they got there. Yeah. And randomly, these people are getting killed by this electrical beam. And the premise sounds a little silly, but what's so great about the movie is the fact that these people have to vote who lives and who dies.
Yeah, every minute someone dies.
Every minute someone dies. That is correct.
Every 60 seconds someone dies, and with their hand they get to choose who dies. So they just move their hand, and the red light keeps moving, and then they pick who they want.
Exactly, that is correct.
Yeah.
I first heard about the movie through Netflix. I was just looking to see what movies were on there, and the reviews for it were terrible. They were saying it was one of the worst movies, and it was really low rating.
Yeah, I came across some pretty bad reviews as well, and I just don't understand it.
Me neither. I ended up watching and loving it, and ended up buying the DVD. Sadly, there's really no bonus features on this DVD other than a little small snippet of the behind the scenes.
Even the release seems very basic.
Yeah, it looks very bare bones. It has like a behind the scenes feature that's very short. But the movie itself, I thought was really good. Like, you get a lot of not political, but a lot of like social commentary in there.
Yeah, the movie is like 99% dialogue. Pretty much. And it just, what it does is that when people start getting to know each other, they start judging each other.
Yeah. They
start judging each other hardcore, and that's how they determine who dies. So this movie does very good into tapping into the human mind and just seeing how judgmental and just how much prejudice there is out there. Right. Because every time they get to know a person a little bit more, they find more wrong with them, and there's more reason why they should die. So it's just
like people really show their true nature when they're in a dangerous situation. Like there was one guy who I think was a lawyer or something. He started criticizing the one lady who was, I think, a lesbian or something. And why should that even be a problem? But it just showed what type of person he was. Yeah. So.
And then there was another great one. You could say he was like the token Latino or the token Mexican, but I thought that worked out very well because they threw a guy who didn't speak English in there. And automatically, a lot of people were thinking, he doesn't speak English, he came to this country illegally, he should be dying first. Yeah. He should be one of the first to go.
This is the character who never speaks?
He didn't speak because he didn't speak English.
But he seemed like he had been there before or something. He was just...
No, not that character. That was like a Hindu
yeah, I'm sorry, I'm getting them confused.
The Hispanic guy with the hat, he was like a Mexican guy who didn't speak English, and there was also another thing that it sometimes could end at a tie.
Right.
A lot of people would mostly vote for these two people. They end up in a tie, and then if they don't choose within, I forget how long they have, they both die.
They both die, yeah.
So
I don't know if this was something that bothered you. It didn't bother me necessarily. It might bother some people. Is the fact that you never really get. I don't know if this is really much of a spoiler, but you don't really get an explanation.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I like the fact that we didn't get an explanation. To be honest, I don't want to say much about the ending, but I think the ending gave us too much.
Yeah, to a certain degree.
Yeah, because because
I originally thought at one point the film was, and this is not really a spoiler, it was just going to end there in that room.
Yeah, and I would have loved that.
Yeah, and then we have a bit of an epilogue, but it's long enough. It's sufficient for those who want a little bit more answers. Yeah. For the casual viewer, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't like that because that showed us that, because earlier they were all wondering, what the fuck do you think is going on? What do you think is happening? Yeah. And at the end, it turns out that one of the things they were thinking could happen was actually happening.
So yeah, you got that answer. Yeah.
I think it's just like, how could it possibly know that, and how could it possibly get to that conclusion when they're in there? Which they weren't sure, but they weren't sure, but
it was one of the possibilities.
Yeah, so I do think the ending gave too much. Like, I would have been more satisfied if it left me questioning more.
Yeah, it's more of a conventional ending, more of a Hollywood ending, but at the same time, it didn't destroy the movie in any way. It didn't tarnish it. I think for the amount of money it was probably made, because it seems very independent, low budget.
Yeah.
It was still very, very decently well made. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, I believe these guys, I forget their name.
Directors?
Yeah, I know it's two guys who directed this movie.
Yeah.
And I believe the only thing they did before writing and directing this movie was a online series named The Vault.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
I haven't seen it at all, and I know it's kind of supposed to be weird like this, and it's like just a few characters inside of certain rooms and stuff like that.
But I like that.
I haven't seen it.
I would like to check that out.
That's the only thing they did prior to this, in like 2011 or something like that. They worked on The Vault together, and then.
Because this movie came out, I'm trying to think. I think it was last year or the year before, like you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So for 2014, here's the thing.
Yeah.
For this being perhaps their first feature film, it's
pretty great, and
like we were mentioning before, like it grabs all social commentary, and it touches pretty much every single type of character that you would come across in real life.
Yeah, especially
racist characters who are prejudiced, characters who just don't like each other.
Yeah, it even came down to like certain like religious stuff.
Yeah,
there was the atheist. There was.
You could say this movie is very not just contemporary, but also very much to what's going on today.
I'm not sure where these guys are from, but I feel like these guys definitely were from one of the big like cities. Like either they were from LA or they were from like Miami or they were from New York. Like they had to be in a place
to get exposure to this type of
there was
culture.
A blend of so much people from everywhere,
and they did it pretty accurately. I
believe so. Yeah. Especially us living down here, and we see like people from all sorts of parts of the world.
The only complaint I'll give the film, which we were talking about before we started doing the review, this is my personal view, is that some of the acting is a little, in some characters, like the Asian thug, or.
But when you get to
it doesn't tarnish the movie at all.
When you get to low budget movies, you're always gonna have that.
Yeah.
You're always gonna have that. Some actors are. It's not necessarily they're bad, but there's people trying to make it, so they're gonna overact. They're gonna go out there like just trying to. Be over here. Like, I'll do everyone else.
So, would you recommend The Circle?
Definitely. For people like me, who don't care watching a movie of people talking for an hour and 30 minutes, yes. Because I was at the edge of my seat the whole time.
Like, I don't mind dialogue films when they're done right and when you have good writing. This one actually has very good writing. They realize that they don't have the biggest budget, so they're centering on the dialogue, and really well written dialogue for people who are doing the first feature film.
Yeah, I definitely would recommend it to anyone.
I would too. So, Circle, if you haven't seen it, please check it out. It's available from Kino Lorber. This is a company you can find on Amazon. It's not that expensive, and it's also on Netflix.
Yeah, that's where I checked it out, Netflix, so I'll go check it out there.
Don't be bothered by the rating. It has like a 1.5 star rating the last time I checked, so it's a great movie. Check it out.
Great movie, check it out.
Yeah. So now, our next film is Green Room.
Green Room?
Yeah. Could you please tell us what Green Room is about?
Green Room, another movie I knew nothing about before I started watching. Green Room is pretty much a struggling punk band. They are struggling so much that for their tour, they have to actually steal gas. They're like siphoning gas and stuff like that from cars. And they find out about a gig where they could possibly make money out in the middle of nowhere. Somewhere close to Portland, I believe. And when they head there, they witness a murder, and they end up being trapped inside the green room of the venue by a neo-Nazi gang. Pretty much, neo-Nazi gang does not want to let them leave because they'll find out that they're neo-Nazis and they're fucking scumbags.
Right.
Yeah. So what did you think about Green Room?
This is a movie that left me a little undecided because I didn't hate this movie. I thought this was a really well-made film, but I didn't love it. I first saw reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and ads on YouTube saying this was one of the best independent films of the past 5-10 years, and that the two things that got me to want to watch this film was one, Patrick Stewart playing a Nazi, and the other being Anton Yelchin, who sadly passed away.
Yeah, not too long ago.
Not too long. A few months ago. I think this was one of the last films he completed of that in Star Trek. But watching the movie, I'll tell you this much: it is well made.
Definitely.
The performances are top notch, but at least for me, I know people will probably get a different vibe from this movie. I think it was very depressing in some areas. Like, you don't get a sense of hope until, like, I don't want to ruin or anything, but until a larger part into the film. You don't get that hope until, I don't want to say, like, the last 15-20 minutes of this movie.
The movie does a really good job of making you feel trapped in there with them.
Yes, it's very claustrophobic.
Yeah.
You do feel that these characters are real. What I liked was that each of these characters felt like people that you would probably meet. You actually believe that they're a struggling rock band.
Yeah, it worked pretty well. You actually,
it was very authentic. It didn't feel like a gimmick.
I don't know if you're a fan of Arrested Development.
No.
But the character Maybe, who plays Maybe, I forget her name, but she's in this movie as well. She's one of the members of the band.
Yeah.
And she was really good as well. I think the acting was all around great.
Yeah, that I can't complain about the acting.
Yeah.
And I'm picky when it comes to acting because I don't like overacting. As I mentioned right now in Circle, that some of the characters overacted. But here, everyone was pretty much top notch. The only small little complaint I would have is with Patrick Stewart. I was hoping that his character would be a little bit more menacing, but he was very calm.
He was very, very, very calm. He was the leader.
He was a leader
and owner of the venue of the neo-Nazi.
It makes you feel like this guy has come across stuff like this before.
Oh, definitely. Like, he seemed like a guy who's like done this many times, and he's
so it's
ready
very
to
routinary. It's very like routine. It's just
just trap some motherfuckers in here and then
that's it.
Get them killed. That's it.
One thing, while the movie isn't necessarily gruesome, like there is a lot of violence and gore.
Oh, dude, there's that one scene where they're trying to get the gun back from him.
Yeah.
And he sticks his arm through the door, and
It is gruesome, but
it's pretty gruesome.
And this is what I will say about the gore, because I've seen gorier films that
definitely.
are not necessarily how do I explain it? Like, it's very, very gory, but you can look at it as like, this is just,
Yeah.
But here it's played in a way where it's realistic. Like that one scene where the girl gets attacked by the dog.
Yeah.
I won't say which girl it is, so I won't ruin it. But one girl gets attacked, and you don't see that much, but it's gruesome. Like, you lose lots of the imagination.
But the reason why it's so gruesome and so disturbing is because it plays out as like it would in real death. Like, when we watch most horror movies, it's just someone like chopping up or killing someone, and it takes such a long time, like with them. Here it's like, boom, you're dead.
Yeah.
It's so realistic in that way that you're walking down a hallway and shotgun blast to your head or your chest, and you just drop dead. Period. It's just the way they little these deaths is what makes it so scary.
That's one thing I can both commend and also critique about this film. Commend in the sense that it's realistic, and kind of critique because there's some characters that get killed off. You're like, wait, when did this character get killed off? I didn't.
Yeah, you have to pay attention.
You have to pay attention. So, is it a bad movie? No, not at all.
It's a great movie.
It's just one of those movies that I can describe as, for me at least, as a one-time watch because of how graphic and disturbing and ultra-realistic it is. Like, for example, there's other movies I can use as an example, like Requiem for a Dream, Irreversible. I'm trying to think of other movies that are very good. Don't get me wrong, they're great movies. Just for me, I mean, I
feel like that due to the ending of this movie is a lot more watchable than other movies.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not.
Like for example, Requiem for a Dream. Like, fuck that. I ain't never watching that movie again because, fuck no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's a truly depressing movie.
But again, I don't know if you would agree. Like, Requiem for a Dream isn't a bad movie.
No, it's a great movie.
It's a great movie. It's just fucking depressing. Like.
Yeah, definitely. Like, this is a movie I would watch again.
Yeah.
To like show someone or just.
Yeah, like even I not liking the movie, I would still recommend it.
Yeah, like I would think I would rewatch this movie just because of how great it is. It is a little depressing, but like you said, it's kind of hopeless, but there's like a lot of hope in these people too at the same time.
There is, but I feel maybe it's just me that like the ending was like, oh, let's give some hope because why not? We're ending the movie.
Yeah, but there's a story he's telling, and then they interrupt him, and then they get back to the story, and it's kind of what gives him that little glimmer of hope at the end.
Right.
And I don't know.
What did you think about the kids not caring for social media? Like they were like, oh, we're just local struggling rock band.
It worked out for the story.
Yeah, because no one knows where they are.
No one knows where they are. No one knows what they're doing. And I really love that little thing they did at the beginning. Like when they first arrived at this venue, they didn't know it was a venue ran by neo-Nazis. So they decided to play a song called "Die Nazi."
yeah.
And it was.
You started getting.
Yeah, and I found out one thing by watching the special features. The guys that played the band, they actually learned the songs that they were playing.
Oh.
Yeah, they learned to play them. That's why it didn't look super fake. Like, they didn't want it to look super fake when they were up there, like, playing the songs. So they actually learned these songs, like, at least a few of them, so they could They even played, I think they played one of the songs at, like, the rap party when they finished the movie. So it's...
Yeah, like, that's actually, I didn't know about that, and that's actually pretty cool, because when you're watching the movie, again, you actually believe this is a struggling rock band.
Yeah.
So...
Struggling, shitty punk band.
Yeah.
Because they're, like, shitty punk band.
But, and I think they probably did it on purpose to emphasize that these young kids were not really that.
And there was a moment that kind of like humanized them a little more. Is that earlier in the movie they're thinking about, oh, if you were in an island by yourself, what's the one band you take with you? Take the one band you listen to for the rest of your life in this island.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were like being tough, like Misfits, Slayer, and shit like that. And then when they were all in a fucked up situation, like one of the dudes turns around and is like, Prince. Like, I would listen to Prince. That would be my island one. And then the other chicks in Madonna, they, like, changed to the real, like selves. They were just, in that moment, they were like, fuck it. Like, everything could end right here, so I'm going to be truthful.
One thing that I also liked about these characters is that you don't have stereotypical characters. You have kids who are perhaps not the smartest, because they don't make some of the best decisions, but they're just average kids.
Yeah.
They're just average kids in a really tough situation. So, and I like, there's some movies where you have to have explanations for everything. Like, for example, the kid who breaks the other guy's arm.
Yes.
In another movie, you would get a really long explanation how he knows all these techniques. In this movie, they just kind of brush it off.
Yeah.
It's just something he knows.
That's
and
fine.
I like that. So, Green Room, I would recommend it.
Yes.
But I definitely think you have to be in a particular mood to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a movie for everyone. It's not a movie for me. Maybe one day I'll revisit it, but definitely check it out. I mean, it's not bad. It's just not a movie particularly for me. I know you loved it. I know you liked it.
Yeah, I think you guys would really, really enjoy it. You know, but keep in mind it is going to be depressing. So
yes.
And if you like Patrick Stewart, don't watch it solely because of him, because he plays a role I don't think he's ever played.
He's a minimal character.
So definitely. Check out Green Room.
Check out Green Room.
And Circle. Both great movies we talked about today.
Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this review. Until next time.
Random Review Fridays.